All righty, Maria. Good afternoon. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I'm doing amazing. Thank you so much for asking. Maria, I would love for you to kickstart this interview. Tell me a little bit about yourself and your professional history.
Awesome, awesome. So I've been in the HR business for more than 20 years. As an HR professional, I deliver high quality results, basically an extensive background with the HR as a generalist. Also, I had worked as an HR manager for a company for about 4 years. Um, so I have experience with any general affairs, recruiting, um, retention, staff training, development, orientation. I also had updated handbooks, employee handbooks, where we have to go basically with all the laws to make sure that everybody is in the right track. Conflict resolution, mediation, benefits, compensation, anything with HR records management, as well as policy developments and compliance.
Amazing. Thank you for that introduction, Maria. I actually have your resume pulled up here. From what I can see, you have a little over 5 years of experience in human resources. I see one of your first roles was as a human resources manager at Easy Foods for about 3 years. So tell
Correct.
me a little bit about what your day-to-day looked like there.
Okay, so when I started with Easy Food, I started as an HR assistant. I think I mentioned that to you before. Um, and then in the transition of, I would say about a year, I moved up to an HR manager. And part of my responsibility was to overlook the HR department. So, follow anything that had to do with recruiting, with termination, with compliance, developments. I was in charge of more than 450 employees. We have two facilities, one here in Kissimmee, and then we had another facility over in Miami. They downsized us back in 2023. They had downsized, so they moved a lot of the employees over to the Kissimmee area, and then the ones that did not want to relocate, we actually had to terminate them. And then what else? Coaching, a lot of coaching, a lot of investigation, mediation. Um, Basically runs E-Verify, process payroll. I process payroll through Workforce ADP, which is amazing. I think ADP is an amazing system to work for. I
Yes.
also had worked with UKG as well as a
Mhm.
Aviante, so I have experience on a couple of different HR, payrolls
Yeah.
programs, which is good. In charge of anything that had to do with uniforms. We had contracts with Cintas, where then we moved over to another company, but making sure we assigned the uniforms to the individuals. Um, and benefits, we had to make sure that the benefits were taken care, that everybody had all the questions. I did a lot of job fairs as well together
Mhm.
with the recruiter, and we also did the health fairs as well when it comes to open enrollments.
Amazing. You're wearing a lot of hats there, right? From
A
payroll
lot
down
of
to
hats.
onboarding, offboarding, confidentiality as well. So definitely had your hands full.
Absolutely, absolutely. As an HR manager, as an HR generalist, as an HR period, is
Mhm.
confidentiality is number one. You are working with other people's and
Yes.
individuals' information, so you have to know your limits, and certain things that needs to be discussed and certain things that you do not discuss. If the only
Yes.
person that you could actually discuss anything, it will actually be your director. Other than that, there's a limit for all that stuff.
That's incredible because I was just about to ask you a question regarding the confidentiality of things. So walk me through your best practice when it comes down to like handling or sorting sensitive documents, for example, like the I-9 documents, right? So what's your best practice with that?
So we used to have let's go with Easy Food because Certainty was more corporate wise, so it was a little bit different because Certainty used to handle we used to do the recruiting, but all the information used to be submitted over to corporate, and corporate used to run the E-Verify, the backgrounds, and all of that stuff. With Easy Food was more hands-on, where I used to run the backgrounds, I used to run the E-Verifies, and the drug screenings as well. So it is a little bit more confidential because, there's a lot of people, depending on the policies of the company, that they can be on board, but you have to know exactly how to phrase it. And then we were going through some situations where we had people coming in that they were not legal to work in the United States. So, once you put the information over to E-Verify, E-Verify gives you some documentation that you have to submit to them. So, it's just a matter of handling the situation, be, ethical with the company, as well as emphasize your employee, because everybody has a situation, but you also got to let them know, hey, this is how the company goes. This is what the law is required. And unfortunately, this is, what needs to be input. So.
Yep, absolutely. And thank you for explaining that to me as well. Now, as far as, well, let me backtrack here. If I were to go back to one of your previous employers and I would ask them to tell me a little bit about Maria's work ethic, how do you think they would best describe that?
Well, I believe they will say that I'm excellent. I'm extremely organized. That's one thing that they always used to tell me. Even my director, my previous directors, they always tell me, I don't know how you know exactly where everything is, even if you're not in the office, because I'm extremely organized. And I think that will give you a very positive input. Again, I can't control what everybody's going to say, but I'm pretty confident that they will say something positive.
Amazing. Yeah, I would say so too. Just given off what you have mentioned to me, the growth at Easy Foods as well is incredible. So that shows your work ethic nonetheless. And also with that, Maria, I know that you're looking for a new position. So when you think about the company or the next company that you're going to join, what is it that will make you say, yes, I want to join this company?
I think their vision for the employee, the mission with the employee, how they treat the employees is, for me, is number one. As an HR person, you always want what's best for the company, but you also want what's best for the employee as well. So it's not that you're taking sizes, but you also have to make sure that they both happy. If you have happy employees, you will have an amazing company, and your company will have amazing records, If you have unhappy employees, obviously, you know how that goes. You're going to have a lot of laid off, and you're going to have a lot of people unhappy, and that's not a well environment to work at. So what I'm looking for is a company where, they are very cared about the employees, that they cared about what they do, they love what they do, that the employees are happy. Where I will be able to come in with my skills and be part of an amazing company.
Absolutely. Completely agree. And thank you for that once again. Well, Maria, I want to go ahead and just wrap up this interview. It truly has been a pleasure speaking to you and getting to know your professional skills. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah. But if you don't mind, stay on the line with me really quickly. I want to continue chatting with you.
Okay.
Thank you so much.